Welcome to Radical Candor, giving and receiving feedback. My wife and I was recently discussing a friend of ours who had run into some issues with her employer. There was disciplinary action going on, and some of the issues that were raised um, were accurate, were correct about this individual. And my wife, who cares deeply for this friend, was brushing over the actual concerns and in the feed we talk candidly with each other, because we care about developing each other's skills. And in this particular area, I said, were you really expressing radical candor with her? Were you caring deeply about her enough to actually highlight these areas of concerns that might need to be worked on? And what we discovered through this discussion back and forth is perhaps it wasn't radical candor that was being provided, but rather ruinous empathy. What is ruinous empathy? Let's jump in and I'll tell you all about it. First of all, my name is Mark Smith. I'm a mentor. I've mentored over 1,000 people through a program that I run called the 90-Day Mentoring Challenge. I've been involved in Microsoft business applications for over 20 years. You can connect with me. Just go to my LinkedIn profile or hit me up on X. Or if you want to check out the Mentoring Challenge, you can see it there at arcor.nz365guy.com. I'd love to have you as you develop in your career. Come on this mentoring program with me so that I can boost you from here to the next level. So, what is radical candor? Let's jump right in. It is, imagine you working in an environment where feedback is not only welcomed but encouraged, where you feel genuinely cared for and are challenged to be your best self every day. This is the world of radical candor, where you can be your best self, where you can live in an environment of trust and care for the colleagues around you and feel that they are caring for you. Radical candor is a framework that helps us give and receive feedback in a way that fosters personal and professional growth while building strong, trusting relationships. Now, as I go through this is something that you should strive for in how you interact with others. However, you're going to be environments where not everybody is going to think or act this way. Not everybody is going to have radical candor with you. So be aware of that. Be aware of when people you feel are offering you radical candor, are offering you feedback and advice because they care about you deeply enough to actually help you on your journey. And if we look at the core concepts of radical candor, it is this: it's about caring personally, truly caring personally means building a genuine human relationship with those you work with. It's not just about being nice, it's about caring deeply about their success and well being. Now, let's think about that for a moment. Genuine human relationships with those you work with. It's not about being nice, it's about caring deeply about the success and well being of others. Caring so deeply that in certain situations you will challenge them directly, meaning giving clear, honest feedback, even when it's uncomfortable. It's about respecting your colleagues enough to tell them the truth. How about that? Do you respect your friends enough to sometimes, most of the time, tell them the truth? When you can see they're taking actions that are going to lead to outcomes that are not going to be beneficial for them, are you more concerned about having a nice, warm, cozy friendship and overlooking or not focusing on or not drawing to attention areas where perhaps only you are the person that can speak and give this advice to them because you care personally? You can't have radical candor without the other, one without the other. You need to be someone that cares personally to be able to challenge directly. You cannot, or you will see scenarios where in the workplace, a lot of people do challenge directly, and it's very clear that they do not care personally. They have other agendas. They are perhaps making themselves look good at the expense of you. And so when we look at this concept of radical candor, we can see it broken into these four quadrants. And if we look at the bar that runs up the middle, you can see this as that care personally. At the very top of it is where you deeply care personally for your colleagues. And at the bottom of that bar is when you don't give up, you get the point about them. And then if we look at the horizontal here, we have this at the right hand side, this challenging directly, being confident and comfortable enough in who you are because of the personal care you have for the person that you're communicating with, that you can challenge them directly rather than remaining silent, which is at the other end of that line. And so, what I would like to suggest to you is that the ultimate place that you want to be in with those both in your reporting lines and your colleagues is this quadrant of radical candor. We have care personally, which is built up over time often, and then have the ability to challenge directly. You need, however, to be aware of the other three quadrants, because when you become aware of them, all of a sudden you will see them everywhere and play in your work environment and in your home life. The first one is where you care personally for somebody, but you remain silent. And this is called ruinous empathy. You're in a position because of this personal care, because you love this person, because you have a deep connection with them, because they are a friend, maybe, and you can see where there's problems in what they are doing, and you say nothing, and then those problems or challenges catches up with them. That feedback that you could have provided catches up with them and results in ruinous empathy. One of the stories I'm familiar with is two people in executive positions inside an organization, the CEO and the CFO, the chief financial officer and the chief executive officer. And they were close friends in the startup organization. They were really close. They knew each other before they started the business together. And so they had a close relationship. You would say they both cared personally for each other. The financial controller, the CFO, though, was making bad financial decisions, appalling financial decisions for that organization. But because the CEO had such a close friendship with them, they cared personally, they didn't want to upset them. And so they stayed silent. And the result of this is that the company went bankrupt because of those bad financial decisions. This is why it's ruinous empathy. Right? It leads to ruin. It leads to destruction because of you remaining silent for someone you care about personally. Think about your own life. Have you come across situations where you've found yourself in this same position? The next one I want to look at is the bottom left corner, the manipulative insincerity. This is somebody that doesn't care personally about you. They don't care about you at all. And also, they will not challenge you directly. So they will remain silent when they see you making, let's say, career limiting moves. They do not care about you. They don't have the time of day for you. So they will use that to their own advantage, to their own ends. If they can do something to set you up that might cause you to fail, but them to be seen as the hero, they will do that. They will manipulate the situation to their own benefit because they do not care for you personally. There's one person that they care about, and that is themselves. And so, therefore, they will sometimes communicate with you, and you wonder why it's insincere, and you wonder why you get a check, as to why they've been like that. They're operating in the quadrant of manipulative insincerity. The last one is obnoxious aggression. This is somebody that does fly off the handle often. They will swear at you, they will berate you, they will call you out on things, they will make you look stupid because they absolutely do not care about you. And they will operate from a point of obnoxious aggression. I was once running a team, this was over 20 years ago, for an organization. It was actually a training company that I was working for. And I noticed I was ahead of the sales department. There was about 15 people in our sales team. And one person was a rock star salesperson, but he would be absolutely obnoxious to his colleagues. He would swear at them in the office. He would come up and challenge them on a deal that he felt that they had taken from them. And he would absolutely fly off his handle and show no emotional control whatsoever. He was after only one thing, and that his own means and ends. I chose to let him go. Even though he was a top performer, he created a culture inside the business that was intolerable to me. And so, although he operated from this point of obnoxious aggression to his fellow staff members, it was better that the business let him find a role in some other organization. So, this is the radical candor matrix. Think about the relationships that you've had up to this point in your life with various people that care personally for you, and then those that don't. Those that challenge you directly and those that remain silent. Can you see patterns starting to emerge? Can you see in yourself that you might have operated many times in ruinous empathy, manipulative insincerity, or even obnoxious aggression, and that there's a need for change? So, how do we apply radical candor? So, first of all, when we look at radical candor, we can look at it from the point of us giving feedback to somebody else. So, us not remaining silent, us being somebody that cares deeply for somebody, that you will provide them feedback. In that feedback, be specific, make it actionable. Instead of saying good job on the report, say the way you structured the report made it easy to follow. Next time, have you considered adding a summary section to highlight key points? And it's constructive. You've highlighted the good and also given some great feedback so that they can improve. Make sure it's immediate and consistent. Feedback is most effective when it's given immediately, as soon as possible, not in a way that will embarrass them in front of anybody else. Don't wait for the annual review cycle. Don't wait for, that management meeting that you might be set weeks out. Make feedback a regular part of your interactions. Make it something that you examine yourself. Am I giving the right level of feedback? And am I requesting or seeking the right level of feedback? Balance praise and criticism. Acknowledge that working well to reinforce positive behavior and address areas that need improvement. For example, your presentation was engaging, but next time, try to include some data to back up your points. Maybe add a graphic. Give something that allows them to take away and build on in the feedback that you are giving. Here's an example. Imagine you're reviewing a colleague's code. Instead of saying this needs work, say I noticed that the error handling in this section could be more robust. Here's a suggestion on how to improve it, or guide them as to where they could find ways of improving their skills in that particular area. So rather at the start that, that this needs work, it's kind of like, yeah, but where? Like, if I had known it, I would have addressed it, right? Be constructive in how you give that feedback. So what about receiving feedback, right? It's important to be able to take feedback, as they say, take it on the chin and accept it and go, hey, this person that's caring deeply for me enough that they're going to provide me feedback, it's worth listening. And the first part of it always is actively listening. When receiving feedback, your goal should be understanding rather than responding. Don't try to defend yourself. Listen fully before jumping in with an explanation or a defense. It might be that it is a learning moment for you. Speak clearly. If feedback is vague, ask for specifics, right? For example, can you give me an example of when I didn't communicate clearly? Can you give me an example of when I wasn't, bringing my best self to that client meeting? Act on feedback. This is important. It's no point in just taking feedback and then go, whatever. Now, sometimes I do take feedback like that. I do brush it off because the feedback is not coming from a place of where someone's caring deeply. They might be protecting their territory in business. But act on feedback. Show that you value feedback by making visible changes. Remember, every change you make is a step towards your personal and professional growth. For instance, if you're advised to enhance your presentation skills, consider taking a presentations course, right? Consider taking a course on practice and then practicing it more frequently. This proactive approach will not only show your commitment, but inspire others around you. Here's an example. Suppose a senior consultant tells you your client updates are too detailed and time consuming. They're a bit waffly, right? They're a bit long winded. Respond with, thank you for your feedback. Could you suggest how I might streamline them? Do you have a template that would better allow me to robustly go through this? Do you have a resource that you feel I should look at? Do you have an example of a good, uh, you know, do you have an example of a good scenario that isn't time consuming when I do client updates, right? Because they probably do, and they can give you that feedback and that insight. So what are the benefits of radical candor? One, it develops strong team dynamics. Teams that practice radical candor trust each other more and are more cohesive. They work well together. They can drive to better outcomes. They feel safe to express their thoughts and know they'll be heard and respected. I cannot place too much emphasis here on the word safe. Radical candor creates a safe environment that allows you to be your complete and bring your full self to your work environment. It enhances performance. By regularly receiving actionable feedback, individuals can continuously improve their skills and performance, right? As they say, a rising tide floats all boats. As all the team are in the zone of radical candor, it benefits and everybody's performance increases. It allows for better client relationships. Clients appreciate transparency and honesty. By practicing radical candor, you build a reputation for reliability and integrity. And in business, you cannot place too much emphasis on the importance of reliability and integrity, showing up and being absolutely truthful in how you represent yourself. Practical tips I want to finally wrap as we draw to a conclusion here. Go find someone and try some role playing exercises, right? Practice makes perfect. Conduct a role playing exercise where you take turns in giving feedback with each other. This helps build confidence and skills. It could be a family member that you build it with. Say, hey, I want to try this out. I want to develop this. Consider a feedback journal, right? Write down where you've received feedback and where you've given feedback, or you've observed other people giving feed and receiving feedback. That's worked well because it might apply further in your career that you want to dip back into that. Consider a mentorship program. Find somebody, maybe a senior consultant that can mentor you in this area. They can say, hey, listen, explain the concept of radical candor. I'm asking you if if you care about my career and my success, would you help me in this area? Would you give me this feedback? And of course, it'll help build and strengthen your professional network. And you can find these people everywhere. Our community is amazing, and the number of people that will help you in this respect. So radical candor is about creating a culture where feedback is a gift, not a burden. It's about caring personally and challenging directly to help each other grow. I encourage you to start practicing radical candor today. It's a journey that requires effort and courage, but pays off immensely in personal and professional growth. I often will find myself doing a retrospective of my day and going, I could have been better. Which quadrant did I operate in? It just comes to me and I think, how could I improve? So next time I don't get upset if I make mistakes, right? The day's gone, but tomorrow's a new one, and we can take that challenge on. If you want to go deeper, read the book Radical Candor by Kim Scott. Amazing book. It says about being a kick-ass boss, but it actually applies to everybody in the workplace. I highly recommend this book. It's the type of book that I recommend you read once a year so it stays fresh in your mind. Awesome. I hope you found that valuable.